Hello again, friends, and welcome to another segment here on Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. As you can see, I've brought along a very special person. She hasn't been in here for a while. You want to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
So, I invited her here today because she has suddenly taken to a very quintessential aperitivo-style Italian drink called the Spritz. And that's what we're going to do today. If you remember last week, I came back and shared some information with you about the Negroni. So excited about our trip to Italy. We had a fantastic time. I think we still miss it.
A lot.
So here we are today. This is a true story. My wife, she never liked the Spritzes. And then suddenly, out of the blue, last week, after my segment, she says, "Can I try that?" And guess what? We've had about 6 or 7 spritzes in a week since. So what we'd like to do...
It was the Italian air
I
that
guess.
got me. You know, it affected my taste buds.
So at any rate, she said, "Oh, well, they didn't taste like this in Italy." I said, yeah, I think they did. But anyway, we'll do a little bit of demonstration here. It's one of the easiest drinks in the world to make. One of the things that we love about it is it's just, you can have a quick sip. It doesn't make you tipsy. Now, if you have 3 or 4, well, then you're looking for trouble. But it's something you can have on a nice hot day. As you can see here, we've been in kind of a heat wave since the beginning of June. So we're here to share some information about spritzes and make a couple of them, and we'll go from there. So let me, while I'm waiting, the spritz from a structural standpoint is 3 ingredients. It's a sparkling wine, although you can use still wine, but we don't bother with that. It's a bitter, usually either you can use Aperol, which we have here, which is the quintessential name of the drink, the Aperol Spritz. But Spritz isn't limited just to Aperol. You see here I brought along 4 different liqueurs here that you can use to make Spritz. So let me run through the different types of Spritzes while we get these glasses all set up. You want to put some ice in it. The 4 different types of spritzes, I'm going to say 4, the different types of spritzes that you can have can really vary to whatever you want to mix with the sparkling. So the very one that heads the list is the Aperol Spritz. So that's Aperol, sparkling wine, and a splash of soda. And the second kind that's more popular is the Campari Spritz. Now there are others that you can make. For those of you who've been following me for a while, there's a drink called the Hugo Spritz. And that is one that's not bitter at all, but it's made with this elderflower liqueur from France. So you could say it's France's twist on the Spritz. So I did some research. You can also use liqueurs like this ginger liqueur called Domaine de Canton, and I've never tried one like that. Eventually, the summer is just starting, so we'll try one. And a limoncello spritz is also very popular throughout the world, and especially in Italy. So the important thing that you want to be aware of when you're making the spritz is the ratio, because it's very important that you don't lose the bitterness and you don't lose the flavoring from the sparkling. And truth in advertising, last week, remember we tried one, and it was with a very expensive California sparkling from one of my favorite wineries.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why she really liked it. So we had to
Really
experiment.
good.
I said, "Dear, we can't keep drinking $65 bottles of white sparkling and making spritzes out of them."
Well, we could.
We could, but we chose not to. So I went out and bought some cava. You can also get Prosecco. We actually were out to dinner last night, and tell them about the one you had with Prosecco.
Oh, it was really good. I like it better with Prosecco than I do with Cava, but you have Cava in hand. I won't say no to Cava, but I like the Prosecco better.
The Prosecco...
It's the Italian in me.
Well, also from a chemical standpoint, if you will, the Prosecco imparts a different kind of flavor to the... Believe it or not, the sparkling is important. But you can go all the way to a Dom Perignon. If you want to make a spritz with a Dom Perignon, I'm sure it's going to be pretty good. But today we're going to use a... Yeah, it's kind of a waste. We're going to use a Campo Viejo cava. It's basically a party kind of cava, one that you could have anytime.
So you said it's 3 ingredients:
It's 3 ingredients.
prosecco or cava.
It's 3 parts of the sparkling, 2 parts of the bitter or the amari, as they call it in Italian, and 1 part sparkling. We're going to substitute that because we forgot to bring a little splash of soda out.
Donde está the sparkling?
The director made a mistake. It's not on the table, but the water will. You don't really need that. It's only an ounce anyway. So
Should I go get some?
no, we're good. So we're going to move on. So let's take, ladies before gentlemen, we're going to give her 3 ounces. And if you want to do a double, which I usually do, but I'm not going to do it today because I'll just have one later, your 3 ounces of sparkling. And then if we hadn't forgotten the soda, you just put a splash in. And I'm going to tell you an anecdote about why that water is important, how the Spritz actually got its name. So now she gets her 2. And this is what she likes about it. Watch the wonderful explosion of color. And then if we had not forgotten it, we would be putting in the sparkling water, but just a dash, a spritz as they call it, a splash. And then you finish it off with a piece of fruit. Go ahead, tell them what you think.
That's good, but it needs sparkling water.
So let me go back in history now and how this drink got its name. Spritz is actually a German word, and back in the early 1800s in northern Italy, the Austrians occupied that part of the world along with the Italians, and the Austrians didn't like the strength of the Italian wine, so they put in a Spritz, which is a German word for a splash of water, to lower the alcohol content in the wine to more match the Austrian ales. And voila, the Spritz was born. So then some enterprising Italians, as they tend to be, decided to start adding bitters to it. And thus the Aperol Spritz was born. However, it was not a worldwide phenomenon until about the turn of our last century here, when the Campari company, which also makes Aperol and Campari, just went out on an advertising blitz, and it is just now famous around the world, the whole idea of a Spritz.
When you're in Italy, and while we were there, the weather was positively beautiful, as everybody sits outside during the day to have their little
I'm going to start
pick
making
me up, whatever you may say.
It's the aperitivo hour.
All you see are on the table are spritzes all over. Men, women, they all drink them, and it's like really colorful. It was pretty to see.
And the one thing that
This is much more bitter than this one.
well, watch this. Look at the color. It turns the color.
It's redder.
Because I love Negronis, as you learned last week, and in other spots. And we'll pretend there's a splash of water. I'm sure I'm not going to mind that. I'll just make up for that by adding a little more of that. So there you have your Campari Spritz. So let me try mine. Cheers, dear.
Cheers.
Chintan. That's very good. One of the things that was nice about, here we go. She's being nice. One of the things that I liked about the whole Spritz atmosphere, as you can see here, these little noshes that we have on the table, that's actually matching what they do in Italy. You order a Spritz, you go in for any of the aperitivo hours, which usually start around 4 or 5 o'clock because they tend to eat a little later. So they call it aperitivo, we call it happy hour, tomato, it doesn't matter. But the nice thing that I loved is they'd bring out a mini meal along with your drink, and it was just part of the charge for the drink. And most of them were maybe 10 to 12 euros for a Spritz and the food, and they would refill your plate if you ran out. Usually it was potato chips, olives, and these little crackers called torrallis, and they're great to have with them to wash them down. And
olives.
And olives. Always olives. They were always, and the bitterness of the olives, matches the bitterness of the drink. So there you have it, my friends. That's the whole Spritz culture, if you will. It's a wonderful drink. It's about 4:30 here. We're getting ready to have dinner soon. So this is our aperitivo hour in the Italian part of, of Berks County. We'll call it Tuscan Berks area. But so there you have the Spritz. One little other anecdote I wanted to leave you with when I was getting ready to do this spot. I said to my wife, I remember as a kid, I grew up in a Pennsylvania German area, and we used to say, and I'm sure many of you don't, if there are any of you Pennsylvania Germans on here, you're going to get this. When we were kids, we would spritz each other with a hose. And the spritz is what other kids say squirt. You squirt somebody or splash.
We squirted.
We squirted. And in our neighborhood, when I was growing up, everybody just said the word spritz. I'm going to spritz you with a hose. So as a kid, spritz meant getting hit with a shot of water. At my age now, spritz means getting hit with a shot of something else. So with that said, Chintan, it's good to see you all again. And I got more Italian stuff coming your way real soon. See you then.